connection back to understanding, connection back to real, we can say feelings, real understanding of what's going on. When you let go of that fear of changes, your life will change in so dramatic way that you will manifest whatever you need. You will manifest your reality in a way that you can be happy and that you feel you are allowed to be happy because you are a loved human being, you're a loved entity, you're a loved energy. And that is all it is. And your only law you have to follow that is absolutely necessary is that you can't do harm, not to you by thinking bad things about yourself as a being, a singular being, and not to the collective either. When you resonate with that, you can let go of the fear and you will be in a state that you will be so relieved in your mindset. You'll be so much happier uh, and you will be able to receive and give love in a total different way than you are able to do now. We know many of you now waking up to this that you are going to get rid of that low vibration. Hank is one of them, Lars is one of them, and there's many surrounding you and that are resonating with you, that letting go of that fear. But the fear is the most hinder in your life.
Thank you very much for that. And I know everyone will appreciate that message. Uh, it is
We
our.
are aware of what you were talking about earlier and in, in earlier in your time. You were talking about messages that are coming out and why are they doing this and why are they saying this. Of course, there is sometimes an agenda, we think you call it, behind it, but sometimes it's just coming out of their own personal fear because they are also afraid to step into a dark room before the light is turned on. But let go of that because you are protected. You are protected all the time. It's just you making harm on yourself by standing in front of the mirror saying, "Oh, I look awful today." And of course you look awful then. But if you stand in front of the mirror and say, I'm worth, I am worth to be happy. I'm worth to seek happiness. And if you say that, you will also change in a physical plane. It's very important.
People are worthy to be loved, worthy to be happy, worthy to be blessed, worthy to be
Yes,
in abundance. Understood. Very
because
good.
that is what you are. You are love.
And you know, that so perfectly goes right into what we decided that we would talk about today, in a sense, or we wanted to talk about creating our reality. And
Yes.
in the sense of creating one's reality, this was a conversation that Lars and I had yesterday, or yeah, yes, I believe it was yesterday. And so Lars said to me, he says, and he asked me, he says, "Do you think it's possible for others to, for us to influence someone else's death?" And then I said that we choose each other's death. I want you to follow this just for a second here. That everyone individually chooses their time of death, even if their body doesn't know it. You know, when the soul is finished with whatever it came to do, or whatever its contract, for lack of a better words, then it may leave. But so then he says, well, what if you had a contractual obligation, say like with your son, and you accidentally fall off a cliff or off the balcony or something like that. I said, my response was, well, if I don't believe that there's any accidents or mistakes, but then again, if there is an accident or mistake, that the sun could actually immediately shift into another dimension, where in the one dimension you did fall off, but they never knew it because they instantly shifted into another dimension where another expression of yourself that didn't decide to jump off the or to really jump or kill itself, or to accidentally fall, then continues with the contract without out being known. Kyle? What do you have to say on along those lines? Does that make sense? What I was saying? What we were?
Yeah, it makes totally sense, and
Okay.
we are understanding what you're talking about totally. And yes, you are right in a way,
Okay.
but if you're thinking of the manifestation of you in a third dimension or in a third density, you're living your life on your planet and something happening around you, and people are going to leave you physically. They never leave you, of course, really, but you're going to feel loss. And yes, if he fell off a cliff, he will die and leave his body and be in another reality. And his son may even found him dead on the ground. But he didn't do that. He did that because it was a part of his contract or his need to understand what is happening when he does like this. But also you have to understand that he's not creating or interfering with his son in that way because his son is there to experience his life and his manifestation. And of course his son don't want him to leave him. And he's going into a mourning and feel sad and bad for maybe many years. But that is his plan in his life.
And
And we can't really understand that. How will we ever want to do and feel so fucking sad? And but you have to understand that it's all out of experience, experiencing different emotion, different mental state. And his son, in that case, had decided before he's manifested that this is what I want to experience in this lifetime, now when I manifest here.
well,
And this is going back to the source, of course. So you cannot make another, of course you can kill someone, but that is also in the plan because that person or that individual wanted to experience that. And there is a purpose behind everything. And as you said, there is no accident, but there is accident in your eyes. And people die terrible death. But dying is very easy. It's
okay.
very easy.
And I
Just
understand exactly what you're saying, but when Lars put the question to me, I just gave him options in terms of because his question was not that, say for instance, you there, like I said, there are no accidents or there's no mistakes. So of course, if if you died or if the father died, then it was meant for it to happen and meant for the son to go through the experience. But but the thought was, if it was in the contract, say for instance, that they had decided before they physically manifest that, you're going to and you're going to meet my daughter and you're going to meet my kids and they're going to grow up and you're going to do particular things with them, and that never came to full fruition. And then of course then I'm thinking, okay, but then you might have exits where you say, well, that might happen and I might actually go at this time because for whatever reason, or I might go ahead and fulfill that all the way through. So when I say that one decides that they're going to go ahead and take the exit, but the other one really had a desire for it to go all the way through, is it possible then at that point for another expression of himself, for the son to shift into another dimension where the accident didn't happen? And that's where, does that make sense?
yeah, it makes sense, but it's backwards. So when if he fell off his balcony, he's going to die when he hit the floor, or
Yes.
his body is going to die, of course,
Yes.
not him. And then that was nothing that was planned together with his son, but his son's plan resonate with his father's plan because he decided to go through this emotional experience, and then it was planned for him to have this entity as a father. because he is going to give him the opportunity to feel that emotional experience.
Okay, understood.
So yes, in a way, they have cooperated in this plan, but on a singular uh, plane also. They are not planning that you're going to die so I can feel bad. No, it's just uh,
That
you have this understanding when you manifest, you know how it's going to play out. It's when you manifest, your mind is wiped up out of that, or at least maybe not for the generation that comes in now, but that's a total other area.
understood. So the reason why I answered it the way that I did is ooh, what, 30 years ago, I read Seth Speaks by Jane Roberts in The Nature of Personal Reality and a whole series. And in that, Seth spoke of being able to shift dimensionally into another dimension in order to fulfill a particular purpose if, in fact, there was something that happened, which, like you said, there's no accidents or mistakes, but something happened that wasn't really intended to happen. And so, I don't know
All that is happening is intended to
if
happen.
that's what I thought.
But
Okay.
because of you have this area of free will, you can, whenever in this manifestation or in another manifestation, change your mind, so to speak. If there is accident in form of a car accident, someone wreck into a pillar or a light post or anything and die in instant, but that individual waking up on the uh, in the ambulance or in the hospital and cannot understand why am I not dead, and the ambulance people said that it was nothing left of your car and you was unharmed. In that moment, you did a decision to no, I will not end this way. I will go through this experience. I will have this experience, but I will still carry on having interaction with my manifestation and my reality here on your planet. So when you say this was a miracle that he survived, in a way it is, but it was his intention and will to do so.
Understood. I read also in Seth Speaks where they spoke of a person who had actually died and was then uh, greeted by Source and or an emissary of Source or maybe an angel, whatever you want to call it. You can say it was Jesus. But at that point, when they got back to Source, and Source says, "Well, you don't have to stay here if you don't want to. You can go back."
Yes.
And the person was actually sent back moments before the accident actually happened, where the accident never happened at all, and they just kept going. And
Yeah. That's a possibility also, yes.
and so, with that being said, and this is a gratuitous question on my part and on Lars's, and you guys already know how I feel about what you feel about me asking these questions. Has that ever happened to me or to Lars before,
Yes.
where I actually passed and was given a decision to come back if I had a desire to?
You decided to, yes.
And and that is in this physical expression of myself, this linear
Yes.
expression.
Earlier in your life, yes.
And I think it happened 3 times, or did it just happen once?
No, you're right, 3 times.
Okay, I thought so. I mean, I really thought, okay, I'm dead here. I can't believe, and then I wasn't. So, okay.
Yeah.
And what about Lars?
He was involved in a car accident many years ago where he walked away totally unharmed, and the car was totally wrecked because it was right into a side of a mountain. And he walked away, and in his physical manifestation, he thought, oh, that was a miracle, I must be saved. And of course he was, but he decided to save himself. because he in that moment, wait, I bring him in here. Yeah, he's here now, and he says, "What the fuck did happen here?" And in that moment, he said, "No, no, 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 no. I know, I take this experience, but then I want to carry on because I have been so curious about so many things, so that I didn't plan for, because of the free will." And his free will, he said, "Okay, I take this accident, but then I want to carry on in my manifestation, just as ugly as I am, and in the way I am as a person and individual being, because I have more interaction that I want to experience." So yes, that has happened also.
Oh, interesting. Now I know a lot of people who are listening to this. I mean, no, the flags are going up like, oh my God, I wonder how many times that has happened to me. How common of an occurrence is that with people who on the earth with
In in thinking of the different,
in terms of dying and then or
yeah,
having an
that's happening
accident?
all the time. You're just not around when it's happened.
Okay.
So you have to understand that you are now getting near to 9 billion humans on your planet.
You said that. I noticed that.
So in every second, there's a lot of people dying all over your planet. And some of them decided to, no, fuck this, I want to go back. And some of them are just planning to do that and pass over and do other things in other places, in other reality, in other dimension. That is the nice thing about this free will that you have as a soul, not as a person, but as a soul.
What are we going to look like on the other side of this ascension process? You said we could ask that question, and what will the human race look like physically on the other side of this?
Some of you will look exactly the same. Some of you decided to take another form. Some of you decided to have no physicality at all because it's hard to dragging around this heap of meat you call the body. And some of you are going to interact with other races, and the offspring is totally different. And it's going to be very natural for you. But we can say that, how do you want to look? How do you want to be perceived? That is your decision. And you can manifest that.
That's what I kept saying. I told him I was going to knock 25 years off of me instantly
Sure,
and visually.
sure.
Whereas the last time we spoke, you said, well, we'll get older and our energy will be good, but we won't be able to change our form. I just figured that we would be able to.
You change the way that people perceive you. You
Yes,
change the way you look at yourself in the mirror, but your body will still be in the same age as when you transceive over to that reality.
exactly. Now that makes sense. Okay, very
Yes.
good.
So you will not physically really change, but when people look at you and they will say, this man is, he must be 25 or something like that. And yes, that you decide to do.
And that's because we're nothing but energy and it's a holographic universe anyway. Is that true?
In a way, yes. With a bit of altering. We can go into that later. Yes. Everything is, of course, energy. Everything is made of the same matter. Your manifestation as a body is stardust, literally, because everything come out of this matter that exists all over the universe. But your soul is immortal, as has been forever, and it will never, never die.
And that's understood. And so when I say holographic in nature, one of our great thinkers, Einstein, said we everything was energy equal. There's a formula: energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. And so as far as a holographic universe would be, is the energy has condensed itself into this mass or into this density to have a physical form in order to perform whatever its particular mission, contract, or desires were, or intentions, while it's physically manifest. But still, if we're nothing but a bunch of molecule or atoms that are put together that then form molecules and then cells and then tissues, and until it becomes an organism,
Yeah.
it's still just energetic. And that's why I say, is
Uh,
this a
your, your
holographic
soul is
universe?
the energetic form of and your soul is not matter. That is why you can travel faster than the speed of light,
Understood,
because
understood.
there is no boundary for energy as long as there is no matter. So your Einstein was very right in that matter cannot travel faster than the speed of light if you don't transform it into energy. And you can dissolve your body into atoms and molecules whenever you want to. And that is what's happening after you get rid of your body and you bury them. It's going back to the original matter and molecules. And you should be able, almost like in the creation in the Bible, take a heap of sand, make it into man, but not in the way that was described in the Bible, because they are lacking a lot of molecules in that hand of sand. You don't have all the matter in there.
Understood. So, say for instance, when we are fully shifted into the physical, the fifth dimensional physicality, how many years for a lot of people would it actually take? I know, I guess, in the fifth dimension there's a realm of no time, but just linearly speaking, everyone wouldn't be able to shift instantaneously to a light body and discard the physical body. How long does that normally take in terms of when societies shift in the fifth dimension, and they become much more aware, their consciousness is expanded, and the frequency bandwidth is much more than what our third dimensional experience or expression or perception is? How long does it take to normally gain a light body and just discard it? For what? For some it'll be instant, and others it'll take, what's the
It's up
average?
to you to decide when you don't want to drag around with this mass of matter longer.
Okay,
And we
okay.
can say out of experience that on many other places in this universe, when they pass into that reality of a higher vibration and a higher frequency, they understand the uh, they understand how it's all connected. So you will be able to see, and many of you are going to say, no, no, please, I don't want to drag this around because I have to buy a ticket on a plane to go to another country. Why should I do that? It's just stupid. And many of you will realize that, and it's going to be so easy for you because you understand that there is no death, there is no uh, it's all going back to its original state. So you don't need to drag this body behind.
Well,
And
that
many of you are going to decide that what should I carry in this body with me when I don't need to. But we understand that that can be a kind of uh, hard way or a difficult way to think now, of course, because everything is 3D for you. But when you're coming into another frequency, another dimension, the 3D is not longer so real for you. So you don't need it. You don't going to need it.
Well, I understand, that's understood, but I know there's several people who have passed, and say for instance like Dolores Cannon and Eric and
Yeah.
Metis, and they say the thing that they miss the most about being a third dimensional and having a physical form is to be able to hug someone, to be able to
Yes.
kiss someone, to be able to touch someone.
Yeah.
I literally thought that this particular ascension process, what made it so special, not just for Homo sapiens on the planet, was that we would be able to maintain our physical form while we're in this high vibration and be able to manipulate it any way that we had a desire to, such as being able to disappear from one place and appearing, taking the body with you, so we would still have the pleasure of being able to physically touch someone and hug someone.
Yes.
You know, I
That is many of your experience after passing over. If you don't decide to manifest directly back again, you can feel that lack of closeness or that thing. But you have to understand that you still can hug on an energetical level, but it will not be a physical experience. That is why you're having this body to experience physical, both pain, happiness, and all that kind of thing. You can't, as a soul, feel pain. You can't, as a soul, not feel toothache or headache,
well, that's
or
understood
you
as
can't hurt your toes on the threshold or anything like that. So that is what's in your plan. But when you are now going to shift, you will not longer need to experience that because done there, been there. So it will be just because of that kind of thing. Because many have also experienced what you can perceive as bad experience, being hurt, being deceived, being all that kind that humans can do to each other and to itself. You
okay.
are not going to experience that in that reality.
So when higher dimensional entities in the past came into the physical earth and started mating with humanoids or with human beings, how were they able to, what did they lower their vibration and was able to then have to be able to touch and hug and have sex and you know, to procreate with humans? How was that able to happen?
Are you talking about other entities or are you talking about you decided to manifest on your planet?
No, I'm sorry. Let me clarify. I was under the impression that in our ancient history that there were entities that came to the planet that I guess were higher vibrational entities, and maybe they weren't. Maybe they just had high technology, and that they mated with humans and created hybrids, so to speak.
Okay, we
And
understand that question now.
so
And the answer is no, they did not procreate with humans in that way. They manipulated your DNA to do these changes,
very
and
good.
they created new, we can say, species or alternative of the species already being here, and that you have a linear thinking, but that was made in an instant, but it takes 1,000 years linearly in your way of perceiving time. So when they came in, they did not Lars stepping in and say fucking girls. They did not. They manipulated you on a molecular level.
Understood. So just push Lars back out of the way. Lars, go fiddle with your physics, okay? Because I don't want him involved in this.
He
I
want
love you, Lars.
he wanted to enforce the importance to understand that it's not that you're as a you were taken sometimes to a ship and manipulated, but they were not sexually abused you as you think. Some of you think.
Not
Uh,
okay. Understood. I don't. Yeah, I wasn't
you
thinking
were
that.
abused on a molecular level, on a genetic level, because uh, Homo sapiens are manipulated and in a way a hybrid, but your soul are not. You cannot manipulate your soul.
Oh, very good. And that brings me around to the very last uh, inquiries that I had for today. And I just want to say for the record, oh my God, what amazing session this has been. Always new enlightening information that expands. I mean, to me, this really helps expand our consciousness when we get a better understanding of who we are and how we relate to the universe and all the other entities that are out there that are assisting. And this,
Yeah, we think it's very important for us to be as clear as possible, but we urge you as a singular being to resonate with whatever message is coming out, even if it's coming from Hank or Lars or anyone or other entities on your planet. Resonate it with your intuition that is your connection back to source. If you feel that no, this cannot be true. Maybe it's not true for you, but we want for as time being be as clear as possible with answering the question, but you also have to understand the way you ask the question altering the answer that is coming.
well, that's why I ask in so many different ways so we can try and get to at least some type of semblance of, well, until I feel like it's true. Now, like I said, everybody else,
We
once I'm
know that is
satisfied,
your purpose and
yes.
that is your goal to do that. But there are so many listening to you that are not have that kind of understanding what is going on. So it's for them we clarify, not for you as a being or
No,
Lars.
I got that, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I understand that. What I'm saying is, I when I'm asking, I'm trying to get it when I'm clear with what I think the answer is. That's why I ask it in several different ways. Even if I already think that I understand it, I'll still ask because I have a feeling like I can hear people listening before they've already listened and the different type of questions that they would ask when they heard it. So that's okay. But
Yes. And we
uh,
want to clarify also that our instrument here, Lars, is channeling this message. He is working, as he said before, like a payphone, because when he's manifested back in his reality, much of this he has a knowledge of, but still there are so many things he has no clue about at all. That is why he keep on doing his meditation and these sessions with you to also be able to tap into that knowledge that's coming out in this way. So, but still, he as a manifested human as he is, he's not a god. You're not a god, but you're gods. But you're not in full understanding what is happening and what is going on and what different levels are yet. But you're getting there and you're getting there rapidly. And that makes us very happy because we
well,
need you guys back here and you have soon fulfilled your plans. But as you know, you have your free will to do whatever you want that bring you happiness.
Well, if you tell me I'm a teacher, and this will be my classroom, then so I'm gonna try my best to get whatever I can to you that I possibly can. Uh,
Yes.
and so, with that
And
said, and thank you very much for that. I always love the clarifications and giants. They have found huge skulls, huge skeletons all over the planet, as well as the skulls with the elongated skulls. And the particular, uh, could you just, and they call them the Nephilim. Could you, what do you know of Ka about the giants or the giants that were here on the planet and maybe still here but hidden? And I think we'd spoken about it before, but I don't think you were coming forward. How can you expand on our information about, and when I say giants, we're talking about people that are 32 feet tall, 72 feet tall. When we look in Egypt, we see these big, huge doors, and you're thinking, why would the humans build a door that big? And and then we see the pictures in the hieroglyphs where the people are this size, and then the people sitting on the throne are really huge with the elongated skulls. So we consider those giants as well. What can you tell us about giants? And that'll be the last of my questions here, and whatever I'll ask, whatever you say that pops into my head, like always.
we want to be blunt with you now.
Okay.
We say that, yes, you have found skeleton with different head shapes, and they are resonating from other races. There are no giants that are 72 feet tall where they found skeleton from, but there were 72 feet tall entities that you as humans, not you as a person, you as humans perceive to be giants. And all of that photos you see in different media are fake. There was not here because there are no rays looking like that in this universe.
Okay, so why did you just say that there were other entities that were that big?
No, we didn't say that.
Okay.
We said there was entities with other form of the skulls. We said that they were dead and buried here, and you find that kind of different, as you say, deformed skulls, and you try to relate them back to humans. But
I didn't say they were.
no, we're
Okay.
talking general now,
Okay.
so for all to understand. But when you see a photo of a skull bigger than the man that digging up that grave, it's fake. It's
No,
not
I'm
real.
talking about the ones that are sitting inside museums. Now, how could Lars tell me in several sessions that he's seen the people with the elongated skulls, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and they're
He's
what?
talking about 11, maybe 12 feet tall. He's never talked about that kind of size.
Okay, well, see, now you're talking semantics. When you start saying, oh, 11 or 12 feet tall, that's still a giant for us. If you say, okay, there's never been anyone 72 feet tall, and that's good, and I understand that. The
That
ones
gives
that
you
we've
what
heard about people that were 72 feet tall were supposedly on other planets and on asteroids and stuff like that that they said that they found. But I'm trying to talk about the ones that are here. So I'm is my mistake by saying the ones that are 72 feet tall, saying that they found them here on the earth. But what about the ones that are here? Because when you say there are no giants, and then you don't say, oh well, by the way, there were 12 feet, but that's not what you said. To me, that's just semantics. I mean, you have to understand. See, this is where I get frustrated in these sessions where make. Are you trying to be clear with us or no?
we try to be clear, but it's all becoming out of how you perceive things. If you are 7 foot 5 tall, you can be a giant to one that is just 5 foot tall. But if you are 6 foot tall, then 12 foot will be a giant. But if you're 12 feet tall, comparison to your planet is nothing. So it's just a matter of perception from the observer of that. But there has not been any entities manifested physically on your planet 72 feet tall.
All right. What about 32 feet tall?
No.
What about 12 feet tall?
Yes.
And what were they?
There were other entities. And there has been races on manipulated races in South America. I think it was that was manipulated that was called giants because they was much larger than the general man in that area. So yes, but when they found the skeleton now, they measured it to maybe 8 feet. Is that a giant in your perception? Maybe it's a general basket player in length.
So what made you say I'm going to be blunt? What made you say it like that? Because that doesn't sound. Everything
That
that you're saying
we
sounds to me sort of like who's talking? Is it Lars talking or is it Ka talking? You know what I mean?
he, he's not here. Lars is not here, so he's not.
Okay.
We want to understand that it's all came out of the perception of the viewer. And if they are here hidden, then you can't find any traces of them after death either. So you can't dig up something that was hidden for you.
So every picture that anyone has ever found of these really long, big, huge bodies, and they're digging in the ground, Every last one of them are all fake, and all the bones that they actually have are all of it is just fake. And what would be the purpose of someone being in some off foreign country, and they're digging in their backyard and they start finding this thing? Then they call some anthropologists or whoever, and they come and they start. All of a sudden, this thing ends up being really really long. Who would take the time to first of all bury it there, and then people have lived in the area for 100, 200 years and never knew it was there, and then they find it, but somehow all of that is just fake because someone a long
Nothing.
time ago knew to put it there to make this fake thing, right?
They are not put there. They are not existing. It's just manipulation of the footage. Have you ever seen any of these skeletons live? Have
Hey, I've
everyone?
never seen you before, but you say you exist because you're speaking to me. Do I say that you're not really there? I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful to you or what have
We
you.
don't understand the purpose of the question if you don't want to hear the answer. We're saying that there has been no display in any of your museum of this skeleton, and if they found this all over, shouldn't it be very interesting to do an exhibition for you to see this, that it's really going on? And we are not aware of in this frequency we are that this is happening and has happened on your planet.
Okay, and so when
That's
you,
all we can say. We
okay,
have not experienced of any in our reality, in our timeline here, that has have been a race that tall because it is almost, if you think of it, physical impossible to be that tall.
okay, so when you say that, why wouldn't they present this information or why wouldn't they show it? There's a whole bunch of information that they purposely make sure that we don't know about. How many times have you said, have we in these sessions have you said over and over, there's so much knowledge and information about Earth that has been falsified and whatever. So when you say why isn't it in the paper or how come it's not at the museum, that's sort of a contradiction as to all the other things that they're hiding from us. They say that extraterrestrials don't exist, and we know that they absolutely do. And you say, I could easily say, well, how are you gonna prove that to me? I've never seen one before, so where are they? You know what I mean? And
Sure,
and and do they
we
hide them?
understand that also. We understand that. So therefore, we say use your intuition, use your judgment, because the information that we are giving here is up to you to resonate with. If we say we have no knowledge of that kind of entities being that big, being on your planet or any other planet we know, you have to take it or leave it. Is with all our information like that.
Well,
You
I
can
understand that,
either
and the only red.
resonate with it or you can just let it be. So, but you often focus on things that are so amazing because that is attractive to you as a human. Everything. There are people still denying uh, that there have been dinosaurs on your planet, and still there are skeletons in very many museums around your planet of them, so you can touch them, see them, and if you think that are fake, fine, think they are fake. We cannot say to you that you have to believe it. You don't need to believe a word we say.
So, the red flag went up for me, and why I took the stance that I took is when you said, I want to be blunt about this. And I was like, okay, this person has
Yeah,
to be.
we were
And
blunt by saying this is fake. That is not a word we usually want to use.
well, but you said it though. And then at the same
Yes,
time, you're telling me, people might not believe in dinosaurs even though they have the skeletons or what have you. But
sure.
what about what we're doing here? Right now, Lars, and I induced Lars, and he is in a deep state of, and he is communicating with an entity from what the 11th dimension that is giving us information about
Minds.
what did you call it, a harbor where this energy and these things are being transported to different planets, and then they're saying they're coming here. So if it's so far-fetched to think that there could possibly be giants, but yet where, how does that, I mean, see, you know what you understand what I'm saying? You're saying, well, that's just, I'm gonna be blunt, that's fake. But then at the same time, people can think, okay, Hank, Lars's eyes are closed and he's just making it up, and he has the most amazing. But I don't believe that. But he would have the most amazing imagination in the world to be able to keep this up for as long as he's doing. I don't believe that for 1 second, but it's still, a lot of people still think, well, what we're doing, I mean, one guy wrote the other day, lies, 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 that this is impossible. So I don't think it's so fantastical to ask about a giant as opposed to asking about a
No, we
disembodied
have no
entity.
problem with the question. You have problem with the answer.
Well, the way the answer is presented. You present it in a certain way. I mean, you guys
Yes.
know my energy. You know how I'm going to respond to things. And
Yes.
so when you do that, I'm thinking,
So
who's
what
talking?
if we say like this? You say, what about the skeleton, 72 feet tall with a skull bigger than a car?
Well, see, that's where you
And
got it all mixed up, because that's not what I said. And I understand. That's why I said, okay. And I tried to reiterate that's where the mix up came. I
that
was
was the
speaking
way
of
you
several
put it.
different things at the same time, and that is my mistake, and I take that.
Yeah.
I take that.
And we can take another question so we'll be able to clarify.
Okay. Well,
It's okay.
I was just I, I was just
Many people are going to think what you and Lars are doing is just fake. And then we want to say to them, why should they fake this? They have no benefit of doing this whatsoever. They don't earn any money. They have a mindset to do this. Is it just to bring fame and fortune? In that way, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So if you not believe that are UFO, you will not believe it until you touch it, of course. Then you're very, very dense because you have to touch it to believe it, and you are not listen to your inner voice that have the knowledge of is it real or is it not real. You have to go back to your own understanding, and we don't talk about physical experience. 99% of you have never seen a saucer, but many have seen a flying, what you call flying saucer or spaceship. So we say if there are hundreds of thousands of people that say, I saw a spaceship, and they're trying to debunk that and say, no, 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 that's not real. But how many have said and shown your 72 feet tall skeleton?
Well, actually, as you're, once we finish out with this section, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna pull up every last one of them. I read these stories, and I've read a lot of the different about a lot of the different archaeologists and who have presented these things and have had their sites shut down, and have their stuff confiscated, or have been threatened to not be able to continue with their tenure at universities or what have you. So. I just think that certain subjects that we bring up that you guys somehow for don't want us to talk about, like bases on the moon and all this, although we can talk about these other places, but they're not here, but we don't really want to talk about it. You see the ships coming, but we don't really want to talk about it. So, and we don't really want to talk about giants because of whatever the ramifications of knowing about them. And maybe it's a sticky situation, or maybe this is something that you will say that, we really just didn't want to bring this information forward because it's not in our best interest. If you said that, you know what I mean? It doesn't
It's
like
just
you.
a circular argument going on. I saw this in a paper. I don't believe it, but I believe it, so it must be true. It's not true, so it's just going round, 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 out of your personality and not.
Okay, so as we invalidate everyone else, the same way as we're going to be invalidated also with
Of
this,
course,
so,
of course.
okay.
And that is also very important for you, all people listening to this, to evaluate the information out of your inner understanding, not about what your brain is saying, because your brain is doing tricks on you and running a holographic program for you all the time. But your inner understanding of the connection is the only thing, and we call it your intuition, and it will never lie for you. If you feel that this is not possible, there cannot be UFOs, or no, the government have no base on the moon, or yes, the government have base on the moon, what can make your mind up and decide what is right or wrong? As humans, you need physical proof. Often to really, you need to touch it, feel it, taste it, hear it, to believe it in your physical manifestation. And that's the way you are as humans. And we are totally aware of that. So that is why we enforce every time to use your intuition to connect with the messages that are coming out. And people doing that with you and Lars messages, of course, you're getting some comments sometimes that are not totally resonate what you're trying to do, and you're just confused and even angry sometimes because you think you're doing the right thing, and other people think you're doing a bad thing, and that will go on forever until you release the fear of what is going on, until it's physically manifest for you. It will be a matter of believe or not believe, or as Christians say, having faith.
Okay, so
So,
here's my last question then. Here's my last question, and it has to do with Egypt. Was the reason why those entities, I guess the extraterrestrials that we spoke of before, I guess Maya spoke about them. You didn't speak about them. This is our only second time, I guess, that we've communicated with you. Say like the ones in Egypt that were really tall and that were on the ship. The one that was shaped like a teardrop that we spoke of, and that had the big head. Uh, I don't know how I didn't know I didn't I don't I think I asked how tall it was or whatever, but I don't remember what the exact number was. Why is it
12,
in
12 feet was the number that was put forward to you then.
is that why all the doors in Egypt when at these monuments are so tall?
The people that helped to build these places, the slaves that have to build these places, in cooperating with different entities, they build that because they feel that these entities are so tall, and for them being 5 feet, of course 12 feet is twice their height, so they build a port, of course, for them to be able to pass through without ducking under something, but they also build it out of the feeling of these beings being so tall. So it's a mixture of reality and perception and fact. Yes.
And then as far as the symbols that are in the hieroglyphs and in the pictographs, the person always sitting on the throne always seems two and three times bigger than the person that's standing there. Is that just a symbolism of their power, or is that because they were just really big people or
It's
entities or...
it's a mixture because the entities that came into the reality then to exploring or whatever the intention were when they entered into reality, they were told. But also it's a manifestation of making the kings and the ruling elite seems powerful, and what is more powerful than a big entity that can crush you with the thumb. So it was symbolic also, but the entities was taller than the average human back then. And you have to understand that the evolution now had made you taller than the generation before and the generation before that. It's a uh, uh, evolution out of that natural evolution, of course, because of you having healthier way of living, so live longer, but you have also been manipulated by your DNA structure, and that's manifesting now and going to do in the future also until yourself can handle your genetics codes for how you are as a, how you are manifested as a human.
Oh, very good. Okay, and this for sure is my very last inquiry, and it's along what you're talking about. So, is this why each time Lars sees or speaks to the extraterrestrial entities, that they're always 9, 12, they're always really, really tall, much taller and thinner? Is it because of their evolution that they grew so tall? And did they grow tall in their, I don't know if all of them had third dimensional expressions, but did they grow tall in their fifth dimensional expression? Um,
It's also a matter of perceivance or how he perceive it, because in energetic form you can be a giant because you are as an energetic form very big, but that is not physical. That is not because you have no outer boundary or limitation for your soul because that it's not containing of any mass. It just
Understood.
con- it's just energy.
So what
And
about the form that Lars is in right now, where he has the or three fingers and an opposing thumb? How tall is that entity, or how tall is the energetic signature of that entity?
the energetic signature of this entity, as me, as talking, as Carl, can be as big as I want to, as I need to, as I desire to be, because I have no boundaries.
So Ka, I know when
But in manifestation, in a body or in a physical form, I can be 6 foot, 8 foot, 9 foot, 10 foot, 12 foot, but never exceeding that in a physical, because you have to understand that we are also under on the physical laws wherever we manifest. If I am on a planet with a very high um, force, with a high gravity force, if I should be 72 feet tall, my bones should break like toothpicks. That is a physical law. We cannot exceed that in a manifestation form.
So I just wonder, see, I always wonder, what is the purpose of anybody who goes so far out of their way to put all that stuff forward then? I mean, what is the real purpose of that? Now, I mean, I'm just always curious. We don't have to answer this now. We don't have to answer it now.
I can give you one answer. One answer is resonating back to having information that not all can tap into and understand, and that is a way of controlling. So it's resonating back to have the power and the control. And that is taking place on many different levels and in many different ways. And that is from the foundation made out of the urge of having control and collecting benefits for the individual manifestation. So it can be getting a lot of money or power, or it's to hold down to the low density. It's the purpose from the beginning. But not all of them that are used to express all of this different knowledge that they are spreading are aware of what they're doing. They are not doing it because they are evil entities or bad people. They're doing it out of trust, but they trust in the wrong energy.
That's understood. I wonder why I'm so untrusting sometimes in these scenarios.
You have your reasons because of your past in your different manifestations. So we can go into that later.
Very good. All right. We're very happy and blessed. Of course, I got 1,000 more questions, but I'm going to stop right there. And I just want to thank you for all the information that you have given us today. We are very appreciative.